Hi there folks, it's just me again on another one of my rants. This one is about the ages to come, 2 more ages of the earth to go through. Gets into a little more detail. I did another video like this earlier called the 2 new earths, because we got 2 new earths ahead of us once we're out of this one, after the rapture, after the tribulation, when Jesus comes back for Armageddon to set up the 1,000 years of peace. That's when we get the next earth. Anyhow, just a quick review. Adam and Eve on the first earth, then the flood created the second earth, which we are on right now, and eventually the rapture is going to happen, giving us a third earth for the 1,000 years of peace, and then the fourth earth will be the one that God moves the heavenly city down onto the face of the planet. And with that particular timeline, let's just go through some detail here. Right now, we're in the reign of flesh. We're in the 21st century. And pretty soon, we'll be getting the reign of Christ, the 1,000 years of peace, which will be a new heavens and a new earth, with lowercase, because that earth will just be good. And by that I mean, during the reign of God, the new heavens and the new earth, all capitalized, that earth will be perfect, because this earth will still have a potential for sin on it, whereas this earth won't. So anyway, along with this timeline, right now we are here, 2014, and we've just had the first blood moon in the tetrad, and we are slowly moving to the revealing of the Antichrist. And eventually, at some point soon, the Antichrist is going to show up, which will start the 7-year tribulation. And it'll be around this point that the third temple will be built, and it'll be around that point the rapture is going to happen. So we don't know exactly when. Only God knows when those particular events are going to occur. And only He knows exactly when the rapture is going to happen. Where our only call is to be ready and to watch. And one of the signs that we watch for are the blood moons, the Antichrist, the temple, and we just get ready for the rapture. And then during the 7-year tribulation, there will be coming the seals, the trumpets, and the bowls, and they are going to be falling on the ungodly, those of the New World Order. And eventually, those who are left behind in the rapture, they will be beheaded, because they will be the martyrs that die during the tribulation period. But eventually, they will be regenerated, and they will be brought back to life around the time of Armageddon. The 2 witnesses will also be killed during the tribulation period, and they also will be regenerated for the marriage supper of the Lamb. Because while we are in heaven, when we get raptured, we go to heaven and we await a specified period of time, and there we have the marriage supper of the Lamb, where the body of believers, since Adam and Eve on, marry Jesus, and we get to rule and reign with Him, and we will eventually come back for Armageddon. And during the Armageddon period, that's when we come back with the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. We come back with the angel armies, and those of us who want to join will join in the battle. And in doing that, we will get rid of the Antichrist and the false prophet. They'll be thrown into the lake of fire, and Satan will be bound. And then starts the 1,000 years of peace. So, day 1 of the 1,000 years of peace, there is what the Jews call their resurrection day. And that's when all the Jews from Adam and Eve on are resurrected. Some will be disposed of, thrown into the lake of fire, and some will be carried on through the 1,000 years of peace. And during that 75-day period, we, the believers, when we come back, will be looking for the remnant of survivors of Armageddon, because the earth is going to change drastically, and I've talked about that before. The earth is going to undergo a great big change. The sun is going to expand 7 times, or it's just going to increase in brightness. Either way, when it expands or it increases in brightness, it's going to be 7 times brighter than it is now. And I believe when that happens, When the sun does make the change to the new sun, it's going to send out a shock wave, and that'll be the shock wave that shakes the entire planet Earth and knocks down every single building that we've built. And with the increase of the heat, after the shock wave will come the heat wave. And I believe it will be that heat wave that burns the entire face of the planet, taking care of all pollutions and all radiation, and so the Earth starts off brand new. So after that experience of Armageddon and the new heaven and the new Earth being created, we will have to go out looking for the remnant, and it'll be during that period. And the people that we find wherever they are in the earth, they will be judged. That's when the world's nations will be judged as well for the 75 days, and then we can start the 1,000 years of peace. Go through all that time doing what it is we want to do, ruling and reigning and enjoying, making games, creating a new society and everything. And eventually at the end of the 1,000 years of peace, Satan is let loose for a final temptation of the flesh and blood people, the remnant. The flesh and blood people who survived Armageddon, they will get to live through the 1,000 years of peace. And eventually at the end of it, those who can be tempted will be tempted, and those who cannot be tempted will be the ones who get to eat of the tree of life. And after the end of the 1,000 years of peace, that's when the final time of judgment comes. That's when everybody who has ever existed from Adam and Eve on will get their bodies back. Everybody will get a regenerated body. Everybody who has ever lived on the face of the planet will get to come back for the final time of judgment. And again, some will be thrown in the lake of fire, and some will be included in the new heavens and the new earth. But eventually, they will learn their lessons, those in the lake of fire, and eventually they will be purified, and they will come out and get to join the rest of us, the rest of God's kids. And so that happens at the final time of judgment. And then, as I've mentioned before, after the 1,000 years of peace, after the final time of judgment, then God moves the heavenly city onto the face of the planet, and heaven and earth are combined. And then the holy city gets moved onto the earth, and the redeemed of mankind, the flesh and blood, get to eat of the tree of life. And we get to enjoy God's eternal home for the rest of forever. And that's a real forever. So anyway, that's just a basic overview of the timeline as I see it, as we will be starting the reign of Christ to go through quickly. We go through the tribulation. We've just had the first blood moon. Then we'll go through the tribulation period. That will come. Pretty soon will be the rapture. And then eventually will be Armageddon. And then the 1,000 years of peace. After that will be the final judgment. And then after that will be the new heavens and the new earth. And that's about it. And this is the basic timeline as well. So anyway, that's it. A basic timeline for the ages to come that I believe the Bible talks about all the way through. If you read from the beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible, you will see that whole timeline laid out as I believe I've seen it, as I interpret the Bible, as I believe our Heavenly Father is going to redeem mankind in 7,000 years, I believe, in the young earth, and it'll take 7,000 years to go from a fallen mankind all the way over to a redeemed mankind. And by the end of the 1,000 years of peace, there will be two kinds of human beings: flesh and blood people that will live forever, and we, the regenerated, who have been raptured, will also live forever. Okay, that's it. Be a blessing wherever you are in internet land and YouTube world. Jesus will be here soon. Rapture's coming. Stay strong, stay faithful. Keep reading the Word. Keep helping out in the world when you can. Okay, talk to you later. See ya. Bye.